I got another Tip Tuesday video for you guys today, and in this video we're going to be taking some double deck and we're going to learn when exactly you should take insurance and a little trick to help you along the way in doing so. All right, but first off, welcome back to the channel. This is A1 Blackjack, the channel where we teach you how to count cards fast. So if that sounds good to you, this is a tip that I learned from my good friend Spartan, who's a professional blackjack player. I went down to Vegas to see him earlier this year, and he taught me this trick along with several other things. By the way, he does test outs, so I would definitely recommend going to get tested out by him if you're at all able. You'll ensure that you have a good game or not. All right. Anyway, this tip has to deal about when you take insurance in double deck. And if you're used to playing shoe games, you probably know that you take insurance in a shoe game at +3 or higher. Right? If you want to get technical about it, I think it's +3.2. But most people are good enough saying it's +3 or higher. But the composition of double deck is slightly different in that since there's only two, there's less cards, which means you actually take insurance at a +2.5 or higher. So with shoe decks, it's +3. With double deck, it is +2.5. And that's important to know because if I think about when I would take insurance, let me get an ace out here. Okay. And so like, let's say this is my hand, right? And just so that we know, we're going to throw a 10 underneath this because it doesn't really matter what our hand is when we're playing or when we're betting the insurance bar. The whole point of insurance is a side bet that the dealer has blackjack. Okay. And it becomes advantageous at, like I said, at 2.5. And there's a trick to help us out. If there's just been a few cards played in the discard tray, then we're still dividing by 2. So think about this for a second. What divided by 2 is going to give me 2.5? Well, 5 divided by 2 is going to give you 2.5. So if I had a running 5 in this situation, then I would take insurance. Okay. Similarly, let's put a little bit more in there. And let's say that we're not dividing by 2 decks left to be played now, but to get our true count, we're dividing by 1.5. I would highly recommend that you know your half decks when it comes to double deck, because what divided by 1.5 gives you a true count of 2.5? Well, this one's a lot harder. This is actually 4. 4 divided by 1.5, I believe, is 2.67. And because of that, since that's higher than 2.5, we would take insurance in this situation. And then lastly, if I have put in enough cards in the discard tray, if I played through enough so that there's just one deck that I'm dividing by, then of course we need a 3. I can't get exactly 2.5 because I'm dividing by 1. And so 3 divided by 1 gives me a 3. 2 divided by 1 would give me a 2. That's too low. I wouldn't want to take insurance there, but if it was at a 3, I would. So if you remember what I just said, then let's talk about this for a second. I'll bring the discard tray a little bit closer to you so you can see. But if I'm dividing by 2 decks left to be played, I need a 5, a running count of 5. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. If I am dividing by 1.5 decks left to be played, I need a 4, right? And if I'm dividing by 1 deck left to be played, I need a 3. 5, 4, 3. Okay, see what we did there? So because of that, you don't necessarily have to convert to the true count each time that the dealer is showing an ace. You just have to remember where you're at in the shoe, and do you have a running count of 3, a running count of 4, or a running count of 5 in that certain situation, right? And of course, anything higher than those, you would also take insurance. So insurance is one of the most profitable deviations we know as card counters. Also, something that is profitable is if you help me out by hitting the like button. I'd appreciate that. And you will profit by seeing more of these types of videos in the future. Until next time, this is A1 Blackjack.